Good day, students. My name is Mr. Ebenezer Kalola, and I'm your tutor for the English Module 3. So today we are going to talk about the different aspects that you guys might encounter in the assignments and also in the examinations. So on the screen there you can see my contact details, my cell phone number and my email address, and I'm always available for telephonic consultation from 8 until 5 in the afternoon. Okay, so upon completion of this module, you should be able to discuss some language elements underpinning writing. You should be able to develop understanding of vocabulary. You should be able to explain some writing basics. You should also be able to explain the characteristic of essay writing and some transactional writings. You should also be able to explain the characteristic of some additional translational writing and able to teach them. Upon completing this module, you must also be able to discuss the issue of assessments of English writing. You must also be able to discuss the methodology aspects for teaching the above outcomes. So for the assessment, you are going to do one assignment which is going to be out of 150 marks, and you must have a pass mark of 50% for you to be able to get admission into the examination. Okay. So we have 4 units that have been covered in this presentation. We have Unit 1, Unit 2, 3, and 4. Before moving on with this presentation, I just want us to highlight some keywords that are used in the question, in the examination, and when it comes to also assignments. Because I've seen that most of you guys find it difficult when you're asked a question, you end up going off trail. So you must be able to understand what is to contrast. So to contrast is to show how things are different or opposite regarding particular criteria, and you also only look for difference, not for similarity. So if you're asked to contrast between two things, for instance, a contrast between an interrogative and an affirmative question, you must be able to point out the difference and not the similarities. And again, when it comes to define, you give the precise, brief meaning of something, often referred to epistemological roots of the concept. And then another aspect and keyword that you must be able to know is to describe. To describe is to provide detailed features of an issue or stage of a process in the logical sequences. Moving on, we also have distinguished, we have explained, list or state and outline. Now, I won't go into detail when it comes to these keywords because they are found in your module. So before you answer any question in your assignment or examination, go back to your module and read these keywords. These keywords are found at the beginning of your study guide. So you must be able to understand all of these keywords because they are going to guide you on how you are going to answer those questions. Okay. Moving on for our presentation, we are going to look at what we call standard language. A standard language is a language variety used by a group of people in their public discourse. Alternatively, varieties become standard by undergoing a process of standardization during which it is organized for description in grammars, dictionaries, and encoded in such different reference works. So a standard language, we say, can either be pluricentric, which can be English, German, French, or Portuguese, or it can even become Oshuambo, Afrikaans, Silozi. All of these languages are standard language because they have grammar and they have an orthography. Now, what are the features of a standard language? A standard language has a recognized dictionary, a standardized spelling and vocabulary. It has a recognized grammar. It has a standard pronunciation. It is a linguistic institution defining usage norms. It has a constitutional or legal status, such as first language, second language, or mother tongue. And then we have it also has an effective public use. It can be used in the court, in the legislature, and at schools. So English can be used at schools. The same applies for Afrikaans, Oshkwanyama, Oshindonga, Slozi, and Koikogwab. I hope I pronounced that correctly. All of these are standard language. They are used in schools. They are used in in the court, and so on. It has a literary canon. It is a convenient speaking. Its popularity and acceptance. Its popularity. It has a popularity and acceptance in a community, and it is used by a large group of people. Those are the features of a standard language. So, moving on, we have different purposes of writing. The first one is to describe. What happens when you are describing. When you are describing something, you go into details. You point out how a certain situation or aspects looks like. So when it comes to describe, this is whereby we use what we call adjectives. These are colorful words that we use to portray an image in the mind. And then we also use writing to narrate. To narrate is to tell a story. So you can write. When you are writing, you can tell a story. And then we also use writing to inform. So when you're informing, you are giving a detailed account of a situation. And then we have to propagate. So to propagate is to convince someone. And then we also use it to convey information. I think we have mentioned this already. Moving on, we have what we call the apostrophe. Now, usually in your examination assignments, we usually ask you the different function of an apostrophe. So we have a few function of an apostrophe here. We use an apostrophe to show the omission of letters in contraction, such as can't, won't, and so on. We also use an apostrophe with s to show a possessive of a singular nouns. We also use an apostrophe without s for possessive of most plural nouns. We also use an apostrophe with an s when two or more nouns possesses the same thing. We do not use an apostrophe with possessive pronouns. When it comes to possessive pronouns such as themselves, himself, herself, itself, and so on, we do not use an apostrophe. We also do not use an apostrophe to form a plural. We do not use an apostrophe to form a plural. Moving on, we're going to look at the relationship of spelling to phonics and readings. So, what is phonics? Phonics is the smallest meaning in sounds. Phonics is the smallest meaning in sounds. So we say phonics is taught with words lists that rely on specific letter combinations. These list of spelling words are used both to recognize sounds for reading and to practice them on spelling tests or in writing practice. So practice exercise includes breaking down words into syllables, into blends and phonemes to help build spelling skills. Phonemic awareness is the ability to understand the relationship between sounds, phonemes, and symbols, which are letters. Rhyming and syllable counting are spelling strategies often used for beginning readers to help them understand similar sounds and to differentiate the phonemes in words. So the basic case is, guys, you must know the difference between a phonic and a phoneme. You must know the difference between a phonic and a phoneme. And how do you use them when you're teaching spellings and reading? We have 5 ways to practice spelling. The first one is to trace, copy, and recall. And then the second one is what we call a reverse chaining by letter. So we also have the reverse chaining by syllables, and we also have the highlighting the hard parts and record the practice. So these are the different ways that you can use to practice spelling, or when you're going to teach your learners on how to spell. We have the trace, copy, and recall, the reverse chaining by letter, the reverse chaining by syllable, highlighting the hard parts, and the record the practice. Okay, moving on. We're going to look at this part of speech which we call adjectives. Now, before we go into details on what is on adjectives, on the different types of adjectives, let's first understand the function of an adjective, because We have different part of speech in the English language, and each of these part of speech, they have a function when it comes to sentence construction. So when it comes to adjectives, the function of an adjective, it is to describe or modify a noun. Describe or modify a noun or a pronoun. Now, how do we describe or modify a noun or pronoun? By using different words which we call adjectives. Now, we have quite a number of adjectives such as red, black, tall, sweet, sour, and long. Those are just a few examples of adjectives. And then moving on, we come to the 4 elements of a paragraph. You must know what is the 4 elements of a paragraph, because at this level that you are right now, you are supposed to follow a certain structure when you are writing a paragraph. When you are writing a paragraph, your paragraph must have what we call a topic sentence, which is a sentence that introduces the reader to the paragraph. It tells the reader what the paragraph is all about, and then it must also have what we call supporting sentences. These are sentences that goes into details. They explain, they describe, they give examples, and so on the idea that was expressed in the topic sentence. And the last structure in a paragraph is what we call a concluding sentence. Now, this concluding sentence, it rounds up what you have highlighted in your paragraph. Now, once you have all these 3 parts in a paragraph, again you must have what we call the 4 elements of a paragraph. Now, we have what we call coherence, unity, order, and completeness. What is coherence? When you're talking about coherence, we're talking about the logical order of your sentence in a paragraph. How do we achieve coherence in a paragraph? We achieve coherence in a paragraph by having what we call transitional words. By having what you call transitional words. These are words such as in addition, moreover, for example, to exemplify, and so on. And then we have another element which we call unity. Now, what is this element? Unity has to do with the fact that all of the ideas that are found in a paragraph, they must all relate to the main idea that was expressed in the topic sentence. And then we have order. Order has to do with the arrangement of your thoughts in a paragraph. It can be arranged in a chronological order. It can be arranged in a comparison order or in a contrast order. And then we have what we call completeness. Completeness has to do with your sentences being complete. What do you mean when you say a sentence must be complete? It must express a complete idea. It must express a complete idea. Moving on, we are going to look at what we call an essay. So we say an essay is a piece of writing with more than one paragraph. It usually has 3 to 4 paragraphs. A good essay has 3 parts: an introductory paragraph, a body paragraph, and a concluding paragraph. So we have 4 types of essay. We have an argumentative essay, whereby you argue for a side. You argue for a side. And then we have a narrative essay, whereby you tell a story or you recall a certain event or situation. And then we have the explanatory essay. Explanatory essays tries to explain or to break down things into simple ideas that can be understood by a person who is not familiar with a certain subject. And then we have a descriptive essay, which describe a certain situation or event. So when it comes to an introductory paragraph in an essay, it states the main point in a thesis statement. It states the main point in a thesis statement. And then we have the body of support paragraph. This body of support paragraph They show, explain, or prove the main point. It generally has about 3 support paragraphs which contain facts and details supporting the main point. So in your body paragraph, this is whereby you back up your claim with facts and statistics. And then you have a concluding paragraph which reminds the reader of the main point, and it may also summarize the support or make an observation in a concluding sentence. Moving on, we're going to look at what we call the punctuation marks. It is very important that you know the different punctuation marks and their function when it comes to writing. We have the period of full stop, which marks the end of a sentence. We have an ellipsis, which shows a pause or omitted words. We also have a comma, which is used for many purposes. These 4 common uses can be to separate elements in a series, to connect two independent clauses joined by a conjunction, to set off introductory elements, and to set off parenthetical elements. We also have a semicolon, a colon, a question mark, and a dash. Amongst these ones, I just want to highlight the question mark. I just want to highlight the question mark because sometimes you are asked to write an interrogative sentence or a question sentence. But then when you write this sentence and you don't have a question mark at the end, you're going to be marked, your answer is going to be marked wrong. So it's very important to know that an interrogative sentence or a question sentence, it always ends with a question mark, which shows that that sentence is a question sentence. And then here I want to highlight the exclamation mark. Now when it comes to an exclamation mark, we usually use it to express strong feeling. For instance, we have a sentence there that says, "Great move, that was brilliant." So when you're going to read that sentence, you must show emotions. And then moving on, we come to synonyms and antonyms. So we say synonyms are words with the same or similar meanings. You must be able to differentiate between synonyms and antonyms. So we say synonyms are words with the same or similar meanings. These are words such as happy, cheerful, and merry. Those 3 words, they have similar meaning. They all express a situation whereby your emotions are uplifted. And then we have words such as sad, miserable, and heartbroken. These words again, they are synonyms. They have similar meanings. They express the emotions whereby you are feeling down. And then we have antonyms. Antonyms are words with opposite meaning, such as angry and peaceful. Those words have opposite meanings. And again, funny and serious. Funny and serious. And then we also have homographs and homophones. So we say homographs refer to a set of words that share the same spelling but different meaning regardless of their spelling. These are words such as wound. The word wound can be an injury. It can be an injury, or it can be the past tense of wind. We have bed. Bed can be a bed, and it can also be the act of hitting a ball with a bat. This happens in games such as baseball. And then we have dove. Dove is a bird, and it can also be a past tense of dive. So you must be able to define what is a homograph and also give examples. And then we have homophones, which refer to a set of words that share the same pronunciation but different meanings. Therefore, the main difference between homographs and homophones is that homographs have the same spelling but different meaning, whereas homophones have the same pronunciation but different meaning. For instance, when it comes to homophones, we have feet. Feet. Those 2 words there have the same pronunciation but different meaning. We have stare, we have here, we have whole, we have grown, we have waist, we have there, we have heel, and etc. All of those words have the same meaning and have the same pronunciation but different meanings. So all in all, guys, you must be able to differentiate between an antonym and a synonym. You must also be able to differentiate between an homograph and homophones and provide examples. And moving on, we are also gonna I'm also gonna highlight the difference between formal and informal letters. So we say the formal letter is written for business or professional purpose with a specific objective in mind. It uses simple language that can be easy to read and interpret. When it comes to formal letter, guys, this is whereby you use simple language, and again, you also follow a different a style according to the type of business letter you are writing. And you do not use contraction in a formal letter. You also do not choose slangs and so on. On the other hand, when it comes to an informal letter, these are written to friends and relatives for personal communication and use a casual or emotional tone. The article except presents you all the important difference between formal letter in a detailed manner. So, informal letter, this is a letter that you can write to your friend, to your mother, or to your brother, and so on. And you can use slangs, you can use contractions, and so on. And the language is usually relaxed because you're talking to someone that you're close to, someone that you know on a personal basis. While when it comes to a formal letter, you're writing to someone that you do not know on a on a personal basis. You only know them in a professional setting. Hence, the language in a formal letter has to be simple and it has to be formal as well. So we say formal letter is a letter written in the formal language in the stipulated format for official purpose, while an informal letter is a letter written in a friendly manner to someone you are familiar with, and it is usually called informal letter. The objective for a formal letter is professional communication, while for informal letter is personal communication. The format in a formal letter is written in a prescribed format only, while informal letter there is no prescribed format. Formal letter are written in a first person, while informal letter are written in the first or second third or first, second, or third person. Formal letter use a passive. They use passive voice, while informal letter use active voice. In the formal letter we have long and complex sentence, while in the informal letter we have short and simple sentence. And with that, guys, we have come to the end of our presentation. If you have any question, guys, my contact details are on the screen, my cell phone number and my email address. Feel free to contact me and I'll be there, guys, to help you guys. Goodbye.